Hello guys and welcome back to Planet 40k. I'm a little bit under the weather, but we're going to plod on with this video today, so apologies if my voice does break throughout this video. Now this video is a challenge video. I want to see how many wounds we can get in a 2000 point Necron list. So that's the challenge today. How many wounds can we get in one single list? And at the end of the video I want you guys to also try this out and see if you can beat my score in terms of how many wounds we can fit in a list. In fact, before breaking into this video, I just want to make it clear this isn't a list building video that we normally do on the channel. This isn't a list build, we're not going to go through tactics and things like that. This is purely a challenge only. So yeah, there'll be no list build, there'll be no secondary objectives, no tactics. This isn't going to be a competitive list. In fact, I wouldn't recommend using this list at all. But yeah, it's purely a challenge and a little bit of fun today. Right, so the HQ within the list, I'm going to go with Trazyn the Infinite. He's 90 points and you're getting 6 wounds for your 90 points. So he is in fact the cheapest in terms of points because he's 15 points per wound. Now there is an alternative option within the HQ area, which is Vargard Oberon. He's also going to get you 6 wounds for 90 points. Again, 15 points per wound. So it's out of the two of them. I don't really like Vargard Oberon, so I'm going to choose Trazyn the Infinite. So in fact guys, what I'm going to do is at the bottom left of your screen now, I'm going to put in a tally for the amount of points we're using throughout the list. And at the bottom right of your screen, I'm going to put a tally for the amount of wounds we've accumulated for the list itself. So you're going to see that at the bottom of the screen throughout the video. Right, next we're going to go into the troop department and we've got 3 units of 10 Necron warriors, not 20s, 10. And I'm going to explain in a minute why we've got units of 10. So 110 points per unit, that's 10 wounds per unit, and they're 11 points per wound, of course, because they're 11 points a model, they only got 1 wound each. So in total that brings our points to 420, and the wounds currently is at 36 wounds. Now, of course, we're going to be adding the Necron Ghost Arcs to this list. We're going to be taking 3 of those to put those Necron warriors inside them, because legally you have to do that. 115 points per unit, 14 wounds per unit. So in fact, if you're breaking it down in terms of points per wound, is 8.2 points per wound. So that brings our wounds tally to 78. Now, I wanted to explain something here because you may be wondering now or later on in this video, where are the flayed ones? The flayed ones are only 10 points per model because it's in fact cheaper to take 10 Necron warriors and a Ghost Arc, because when you combine the total of those 2 units together, it in fact makes 9.4 points per wound, whereas flayed ones are actually 10 points per wound. So I've gone with the Necron Ghost Arcs with the Necron warriors inside them, rather than the flayed ones. Now there's actually cheaper options than the flayed ones, so they've not made the video, so throughout the video you'll kind of see why. So the wounds tally is on 78 once you've included those 3 Necron Ghost Arcs. Right, into the elites we're going with 2 Triarch Stalkers. They're actually pretty cheap for what they do, to be honest with you. 110 points per unit and you're getting 12 wounds per unit. That in fact makes 9.2 points per wound. So that brings our tally to 102 wounds for the list so far, and we've not even gone halfway into the points yet. Now again, these are cheaper than flayed ones. I've already kind of explained why I've not got the flayed ones in. But the next entry in the list, we've actually gone with this one purely because of points left over at the end, but because they're an elite option, I'm going to have to talk about them now. So we've gone with the Cryptothralls. Now Cryptothralls are 40 points per unit, that's 4 wounds per unit, 10 points per wound. If you break that all down, division, simple maths. That brings our tally to 106 wounds. Now I did have 40. In fact, I've got 4 points left at the end of this list, you'll see, but I had 44 points. What better to use than the Cryptothralls to give us 4 extra wounds? Breaking into the fast attack, we've got 3 units of 9 Canoptic Scarabs. Of course, these are going to make the list. They're cheap as chips. 135 points per unit, that's 36 wounds in one single unit, and it actually is 3.75 points per wound. It's an absolute bargain, isn't it? Now of course, once you've got 3 units of these, it does become quite expensive, and you can see in the bottom left there, our points tally has gone to 1,430 points, but our wounds tally is at 214, so a massive increase from the Canoptic Scarabs alone there. Sticking with the fast attack, we've got 3 units of 9 Tomb Blades, at 162 points at base cost per unit. That's 18 wounds per unit because they've got 2 wounds per model, and when you break that down for the cost per wound, it's only 9 points. They're 18 points a model, they've got 2 wounds per model. Basic maths again, 9 points for a single wound. So now we're on 268 wounds, and we're on to our last unit within this list, well within this challenge if you like. And I've gone with the Convergence of the Dominion. I've gone with the Fort, 80 points per unit, 30 wounds per unit, 2.67 points per wound. Now, I just want to make this very clear in fact, because I know you guys are going to be thinking, you can take 3 sets of these things and that would be the cheapest thing to do to get wounds. I kind of feel like that's a little bit cheating. taking 3 lots of fortifications. When are you ever going to do that? So if you are going to take this challenge, can you just not do that? Because it's just a little bit cheap. But yeah, go with 1 unit of this if you have to take one of these. I think 3 is just never going to happen, not in a million years for me. But yeah, 2.67 points per wound. Now before revealing our final score, I just wanted to mention some honourable mentions which may actually help you when you do your own challenge for this video. So the first honourable mention is the Catacomb Command Barge. It's 16.1 points per wound. Now considering Trezor the Infinite and Vargod Oberon were 15 points per wound, that's not too far off. Honourable mention for Command Barge. Vargod Oberon we've just mentioned, 15 points per wound. We already mentioned that earlier in the video. Canoptic Spiders, Flayed Ones and Scorpion Destroyers are all 10 points per wound if you break them down per wound. Likewise with the Ophidian Destroyers, they're also 10 points per wound, and the Triumph Praetorians as well. The Night Scythes are 10 points per wound, and the Doomsday Arc is 10.4 points per wound, so a little bit more pricey there, but still a very honourable mention. Now the last honourable mention was very unlucky to not make this list, and it's one of my new favourite units is the Obelisk. The Obelisk, 9.6 points per wound, so that's pretty cheap per wound, so it's not going to make the list because even though it is 9.6 points per wound, there were better options for this challenge. So in total we got 1,996 points, which is a 2,000 point list and 4 points shy of making 2,000 points, but you can find a place to put that. Maybe one of the Tomb Blades can take some shield veins or something. But for my actual wound score, I've got 298 wounds in the actual list itself. So my challenge to you guys is, can you beat my score, 298 wounds in a 2,000 point Necron list? Now remember what I said about the restrictions with the fortifications, no cheating there. You can only take 1 unit of those for this challenge. But yeah, see if you can beat my score. If you can, put it down in the comments below. If you can't, give me a thumbs up anyway. Other than that, guys, all that is left to say is thank you all for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Planet 40k here. I don't know about you guys, but I love wargaming. But sometimes it's just a pain in the butt finding players for a game. It's time for change, and I would like to introduce to you Vox Link. What is Vox Link, you ask? Well, it's an ultimate gaming community app. It has a game finder to find or host games within your area, no more posting on awful social media pages. Vox Link is the answer to finding your games, tournaments and events across your local community. It's got a built-in message board system to arrange your games and also has its own feedback system too. Vox Link is the next big thing in wargaming. However, we need your help to make the dream become a reality, so come and join the Vox Link on Kickstarter. There's going to be a free version of the app to suit everybody's budgets, and there'll also be bonus features for premium users. Vox Link just wants to make tapping into your local gaming community much easier than ever before. So join Planet 40k here on Vox Link, the ultimate tabletop community building app.